Right, I'm going to explain how to mask off a tyre when you're either changing the colour of a wheel or repairing a wheel because you've had a brand new tyre fitted and the chap has decided to mash the machine all the way around the edge and damage all the paint. Now, mistakes happen, we're not too bothered about it, we're going to colour change the wheels anyway, but it is a good excuse for a how-to video. So I'm going to go through the steps of prep up to the point of paint. So the preparation will be the same, whether it's an alloy wheel or a steel wheel like this, to the point where you're painting, and then obviously you'll use different primers depending on what your end coat is. So yeah, prep wise, this is how we normally prep wheels. Right, so in an ideal world, we wouldn't even need to mask the tyre off or the valve because they wouldn't be fitted. But we're at the situation where we need to do it, and a lot of people that are using wheels on the road will want to be able to repaint a wheel and not have to faff around having a tyre taken off. So this is a way to obviously prep for paint with these two in place. So the first thing you need to do, if it's a used wheel, you need to obviously take it off the vehicle. You're going to need to clean out any kind of soil, dirt, etc. off of your tyre and obviously off of this valve. Also, don't forget to remove any kind of fancy valve caps or any kind of valve covers you might have. Get it to kind of this stage as we are here, and then you want to do kind of all the dirty prep work first. So kind of any sanding you need to do wants to be done now, like this. So we're going to just use Scotch pads, and what you want to do, hopefully you'll be able to see in the video, is remove the shine. As soon as you've removed the shine from the surface, whatever, it being an aluminium painted surface or whether it's a steel one, as soon as it dulls down, that's keyed enough for paint. So go around the whole wheel, you'll see us do it, but basically scrub, 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 get it all nicely keyed so it's all clean and keyed. It's time to just get rid of the dust. If you've got any kind of like nooks and crannies where dust's going to accumulate, then you're going to want to airline that out, or you're just going to want to try and blow it, hoover it. Luckily we've got an airline. So now it's cleaned, we're going to let the air out the tyre. Now the reason I didn't let the air out first is because obviously dust and stuff can get trapped in the kind of final bit and you don't want that. So obviously you can have a valve removal tool, which is a key that goes in and spins, but most people DIY and haven't got that, including myself. So just something like an Allen key would be ideal to make sure to not damage anything, but you just can simply push it into the valve, as so, and fully deflate the tyre. So you're now at the stage of wanting to mask off your tyre. Now, there are two ways of doing it. There's a good old-fashioned masking tape way, or there's a ridiculously fast hack way of doing it, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But first we're going to talk about masking tape. Now, you're going to want a good quality masking tape, because if you buy real bad cheap tape, it's just going to keep peeling off. And there's also two ways of doing the tape. Now, there's the right way and there's the wrong way. And we'll get the wrong way done first. Now, most people, including myself when I started, I would get the masking tape and try and poke it down the edge and tape it as so. The problem with that, obviously try to push it down as much as you can. The problem with that is it doesn't really want to stick to the rubber. So when you're coming to spray, so I'm using an airline to sort of show you, so it probably wouldn't be as bad as this, but when you come to spray, you'll see that the tape lifts. And that's the last thing you want to be doing when you're chucking paint on, is have any kind of tape moving. So that is the wrong way of doing it. Now the right way of doing it is to have the tape. I'll use a fresh bit, but basically put your tape on, but let it overlap. So it's actually longer than what it's supposed to be, and then take a card. Now this is a filler card for spreading filler, body filler, or a credit card or any kind of thin plastic. And what you want to do is push on the bead of the tyre, push on the tyre back, and then tuck the tape between the rim and the bead like so. And what that does, and hopefully you'll be able to see in the video, is it will give you a real good kind of gap so you can get paint at the lip of the wheel both sides, and also you've got no problem, I will show you again with the airline. There's no tape lift, the only bit that's obviously lifted is back here, but where you're going to be chucking paint in, there's going to be no masking tape lifting. So that's the right way of doing it. Now the second way of doing it is by a hack, which we like to do, but you do need to get a good quality sheet for this. So something like a bin bag liner, 4 bin bag liners, 4 bin bags will be good if they cover small wheels. If not, wheelie bin liners are great. If you don't have anything like that, like I don't, then you're going to want something like a polythene dust sheet. So what you want to do is grab your dust sheet, make sure it's longer than the wheel. Now these are 18-inch wheels, so it's quite a bit of dust sheet. And you want to cut your dust sheet off. Now you can get dust sheets in single sheets or a continuous roll like this. This is a roll. The only thing I could suggest is to get a good quality one. Stuff I'm using here isn't that great, but just showing you for a video as opposed to actually using this for hand painting. So you've got over the wheel, you know the length. What you need to do is unravel it if it needs doing. So unravel like so. It could be unravelled a bit more, but I'd rather keep it double thickness if I can. So as you can see, that's covering the majority, if not all, of the tyre. So what you want to do is find a centre point of it now. So you just want to make sure it's got a good coverage all the way around. Any bits it don't, you can just chuck a bit of tape on. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to get the centre of it. What I'm going to do is get the centre with 2 fingers and pull it up like that. So put your hand around and pull back. No funny comments. And then you've got your centre point here. You want to put that roughly where the centre of your wheel is and pull that back until it gets to your tyre valve. So I'll spin it around so you can see a bit better. But basically this end to the centre and then pull back till you get to your tyre valve. Then you want to get this sheet and you want to cut it. So obviously that's your length there. Discard that bit, you don't need that. And then carefully unravel this. And what you'll hopefully see is you've got pretty much a perfect circle that is slightly smaller than the wheel. So now you do exactly the same method with your card, like I've done with the masking tape. Push down on the bead of the wheel and tuck the polythene in. And work yourself all the way around by doing this. It's a case of just making all this kind of tight around the edge. There's a quick way of doing it and there's a slow way of doing it. And the quick way of doing it is push it all down and do one quick run around the edge with some tape. And that will be enough to have that perfect kind of paint job around there. Now if you've done anything If you tear through anywhere, which you can do if it's a poor quality sheet, is just chuck a bit of tape in like a localised repair. If you've done it, I'll show you an example here. It's the same kind of method, just push the tape between the sheet and the rim, and that's fine. I'll do another one just in case you didn't see what I've done. But overlap again like you would with masking tape. Pull back the tyre slightly and poke it under, and you've got a perfect edge to get your painting all the way around both sides. So that's that. That is mask ready for painting. You can just chuck this underneath, and again, if there are any bits of tyre that are exposed, just chuck a bit of tape over it or another little bit of polythene sheet, and that's it done. Now the valve, that's dead simple, self-explanatory. Again, it's just masking tape with that. The quickest way of doing a valve is to just rip off a short bit of masking tape. Use the flat bit as the bit that goes against the bottom of the valve, so obviously like that. And what you want to do is try and stick the first bit down with your finger. Now you'll find because it's a rubbery valve it won't stick very well, but the key to this is to put it on, pull it as tight round as you can and keep holding it as you're doing it. So you hold it like this, 2 fingers, keep going round with the tape and stick the tape onto itself as tight as you can possibly get it. And then that is your valve taped ready for paint. Right, so you've masked your tyre off completely, you've masked your valve off. The last couple of steps before applying any kind of paint is to make sure you clean thoroughly, so you get some panel wipe or some hot soapy water. Obviously be careful of any gaps where water can fill. You want to be doing this kind of on a rag and wiping. Once you've done that, you just want to double check that there's no dust on. So the last thing you want to do is have any dust knocking around from prep work that's then going to be introduced into your fresh paint. So we normally airline everything off. This would be a good idea that's a good check really to make sure your masking's going to withstand spraying, which ours will. Also, if you find the bag if you do it this way and you find that some of the polythene sheet isn't taut enough, there's a way of just chucking a bit of tape on and pulling it back and tape it to the next piece to it, and that will just correct any bits that may be a bit baggy. But yeah, you're good to go. Now if you're applying our rusty paint, I would say once this is cleaned, it's ready just to go straight on. If you're doing colours, as in for different companies' paints or spray cans, you may need to be putting a primer on, then whatever kind of their paint is, and then a sealing coat. But if you have any questions about paint, whether that be our rusty paint or any other kind of stuff to do with this kind of prep, just drop me a comment below or drop me a message. I'll do my best to answer them for you. Also, if you don't mind liking, sharing and subscribing the YouTube channel, that would be amazing. We're going to be picking people at random to win kind of t-shirt, merch, stickers, key rings, all sorts of bits, maybe some free paint kits.